Ashesi University, welcome to Ghana, and welcome to our 5th annual convening of the Education Collaborative. We are really excited to have you this morning. I know that a few of you had hitches getting here, a lot of flight delays, but we are very, very happy to have you here. And let me start off by recognizing the leadership of Ashesi University, any other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. So good morning again. I'm Lizzie Chongoti, and I'm the one in charge of the East African Regional Hub. And my role this morning is very simple, to really just welcome you to this 5th convening. Let me welcome those who are here for the first time, and those who are here for the 2nd and 3rd time. And another very interesting group that has been working together, has very deep working relationships, but has met a lot on Zoom and has developed very strong working relationships, but are meeting for the first time in person. Where I come from, they say that you don't judge the day by the harvest that you reap, but you judge the day by the seed that you sow. And I believe that Ashesi in its foundations sowed the seed that enabled us to be able to continue working over the last 2 years, to be able to build those relationships over the last 2 years. I know it was a difficult time, and I think we are really grateful that we are able to meet in person during this 5th convening. So I spoke about belonging to the East African Hub, and let me just say that as you're all aware, we are a tightly knit network of higher education institutions, and we have mutual accountability, and all working towards the goal of ensuring that we have ethical, entrepreneur students who have the skills and the knowledge, as well as the character, to become good citizens so that they can lead institutions and economies on the continent. And so the way it works is that to be able to achieve that as a collaborative, we operationalize our work through the different regional hubs. So we have the East African Hub as the first hub on the continent. We also have the West African Hub, we have the Francophone Hub, and the Southern African Hub. So we work across the various hubs, but we also work within the hubs in which we find ourselves in. And why do we do this, or why is the Education Collaborative keen on this particular agenda? I think I would like to say this finally before I invite our next speaker to take us into more details as to the why. But really, we know that the population on the continent is probably going to double by the year 2050. We know that youth unemployment is on the rise. So these are challenges, but as much as they are challenges, they are also opportunities, because in tandem with that, our infrastructure needs to grow. In tandem with that, our food production, our agriculture, our education, our health systems, they need to grow. And as they grow, it means that we will be able to provide more opportunities for the youth. So as a collaborative, we are very aware of the fact that the higher education institutions, whether universities or technical and vocational institutions, are the ones that are going to be able to push the much needed human capital to create that particular development. So let me say that I really hope that you have fun this week. I really hope that you will have very fruitful deliberations, that we will learn from what Ashesi is already doing, but also learn from what we are already doing as respective institutions, that we'll be able to network, that we'll be able to just come up with innovations or solutions that are going to work for our various institutions and our various regions. So with those few remarks, let me say welcome again. Please do have a good time, have a lot of fun. And now it is my noble responsibility to invite our Director of Education. Her name is Rose Dodd. So let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much. And I'll just echo Lizzie when I say thank you so much for, braving it up our roads, Breakfast roads. I'm sure you were wondering, is there an end in sight when you were going down these roads? But it's always refreshing when you then appear at this oasis that is Ashesi, right? And we actually believe that within about 5 minutes of landing here, you forget about the road. And so you have to go back and then you remember it again. We shared a lot about the Education Collaborative, where we exist, and how we organize according to the regional hubs. Now, we prioritize a couple of things in the Education Collaborative in our approach. One of it is just the realization and the acceptance that no institution is the same. Even though Africa as a continent, we share many things, right, as a continent, culturally, share many things. However, there are still differences in the different regions, the different countries, and even down to different institutions. And so, in the Education Collaborative, we recognize that because of that, institutions really have to take charge of their own development and their own processes for transforming students. And so, we use the regional hub model, meaning that the institutions within any particular region are able to really think through, okay, this is a vision for the Education Collaborative, but how does it work for us in our context? And then adopt it and even reprioritize, right, based on the issues that is faced in the institutions in that particular region. So contextualization is very important to us. Another thing is ownership. A very key part of being a member of the Education Collaborative is that as an institution, you own your own development and transformation, right? There are 3 things we always say if you are a true member of the Education Collaborative. One is that you've identified certain aspects of your operations, your systems, your structures that you can share because you have mastered it. We build efficiency and expertise in this. And so if another institution comes and says, how did you achieve this? You are willing and able to share it. 2 is that you have also identified, on the flip side of the coin, the gaps, the areas of development, the areas of improvement that you want to achieve. And so you are coming in looking to learn and looking to pick up from other institutions. And 3, that you are continually contributing to sustainability of the Education Collaborative. The initial term of the Education Collaborative project is 10 years. Now, within 10 years, there are certain key goals we are trying to achieve. And through all of that, what we are really trying to build is a certain sustained connection and network amongst institutions, not just on paper, but in real, between leaders, between faculty, between administrators, so that you can pick up the phone, send an email from Southern Africa to East Africa, and know that someone who has expertise and experience in a certain area of higher education will be willing to share their learning with you, right? So that's the Education Collaborative. We try as much as possible to prioritize practicability, so you will notice that the sessions throughout this week are very practical, and at the end of the week, we are going to have a commitment summit. And the goal of that commitment summit really is that what have you learned, what have you picked up, and what are you going to try to implement? Perhaps you have a certain department, institution that has a certain gap, and you've learned a new tool, a new technique that you can go use, try out in your institution. We also understand that sometimes the project or the work you need to achieve is much larger or much bigger than we can support with the Commitment Summit grant. However, you can use that small grant as a proof of concept to be able to say, when we try this on a small scale, it worked, and so we can make a proposal to our leadership to roll this out in our institution. So it's very practical, it's very hands-on, and we really care about the connections. So as Lizzie said, network. There's a reason why we all get on one big bus to come here together, get on one big bus to go back together, and as much as possible stay in just 1 or 2 hotels, because we really want you to connect. And there are people here who have been here in the Education Collaborative since the very beginning. 2017 being the first year when we started, 2018, and they are still contributing, still engaging across, and still here in person now that we can come together in person. So I think I want us to all give ourselves a big round of applause. Here again, together again in person. So I'm sure you've already seen the schedule for the week on your Hoover app. There are 4 main tracks: ethics and leadership, entrepreneurship ecosystem development, entrepreneurship pedagogy development, career and employability systems. And these 4, actually mainly, leadership is one focal area, really. So it's these plus faculty and research development and diversity, equity, inclusion within institutions are the focus areas of the Education Collaborative. And so this week the sessions focus on these 4. So currently, right now, we have over 300 participants attending this convening. In person, we have about 170 attending in person. Between today, yesterday and through to Friday, there will be about 170. We have some more joining in online because they could not make it in person, representing 60 higher education institutions on the and 23 countries across the continent. So we are all represented in the collaborative. We have co-organizers who joined to organize all of the different tracks, because as you can imagine, it's a lot of, a lot of engagement and really a lot of research to determine which areas to focus. There's Ashesi University, which supported in developing ethics and leadership development track. Strathmore University supported in developing the entrepreneurship pedagogy track, particularly the IBIS Africa Center at Strathmore. Riara University supported in developing the careers and employability track, and Boto University in Botswana supported in developing the entrepreneurship ecosystems track. All right. Thank you so much, co-organizers. I'm sure you're wondering, how did we pick these co-organizers? Co-organizing institutions come from member institutions, and they are institutions that have shown evidence and expertise in these particular areas where they lead. And so co-organizers really change each year, and also they don't just co-organize convenings, they also lead initiatives throughout the year in the Education Collaborative. In 2017, our first set of participants for the annual convening was 25. And in 2022, our participants are 300. So it definitely shows that there really is this desire and this need for connections amongst higher education institutions on the continent, right? And it's high time we begin to look inward a bit in our learnings, in our sharings, to develop the outcome students that we are looking to achieve. Thank you so much. And I'll hand over to Lizzie. Thank you.